Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I've got a how I play video. I've made it to rank 5 in ranked battles, and it's time I take a break, partly because there's no matches at rank 5 happening that I've been able to get. So, a bit of a different one here. As you can see, I'm in one of the ARP ships, but it's essentially a Kongo, though its stats are a tiny bit lower than the Kongos, and I think that just falls in with Wargaming's general trend that they don't really want any kind of premium or earnable vessel or tank to ever outperform the standard one. So when you look at some of the soft stats on one of the ARP ships versus just the standard Kongo, a couple of them are mildly different, but overall pretty much same ship as a fully upgraded Kongo. Now, I loved the Kongo, but I was tight on money and port slots, and since I've got 3 replicas of her, albeit painted rather brightly, decided, I'll sell the ship, move the captain onto a different Japanese vessel, which in this case was the Fuso, which I rebought, and it allowed me to kind of have a fuller harbor, even if I do have to look at the ARP ships, which personally I don't mind. There's a couple that a little offensive to the eyes, like that is bright. I've got to squint when I look at it. But I find the battleships, they're a little more toned down and they actually look pretty good. So as for my captain, you can see I've gone right up the board with survivability. Now, this isn't the build I'm going to keep forever. It's just the build I have for now, and long term, eventually I'm going to go with secondary armament. Really, you do want expert marksman with the Kongo just to speed the turrets up. I'll grab superintendent and then probably advanced fire training, and I'm not sure what I'll grab at tier 5 just yet. I've got to feel it out a little more. I really haven't or don't have any super experienced tier 5 captains, especially in battleships. Really the only tier 5s I hung on to were the Königsberg, and I've got that ship down to a science, I feel. For the modules, main armament 1, aiming mod 1, and damage control 1. Not a lot of options, but the Kongo is very good at range, so that tighter main armament dispersion and a little bit of improved secondary performance, really worth it. So let's get into a battle and I'll talk how I play. So here we are just loading into a battle, and you can see I pulled a tier 6 one, but that doesn't concern me too much, and it's actually on a map I really enjoy, Neighbors on Domination. I feel I've got a really good hold of this map, and you know, as far as the lower tier maps go, well, maps you can get at lower tiers, it's definitely one of the ones I love, and it beats playing Two Brothers for the dozenth time. Actually, tier 7 game, each team has a tier 7 destroyer, so they're going to be something to watch out for. So, off the start, not too sure where I want to go. Normally I would go up to Charlie, and I think that's what I'm going to do in the end here. And you can see a bunch of my team's going that way as well. And I like to push with the team. And it's kind of nice to see this map again with 3 cap points, because in ranked all you have is a tiny little Bravo cap point and Charlie, well, Alpha and Bravo, and a huge chunk of the map you just don't use for anything. So it's nice to see the whole map here. I'm going to have lots of targets to shoot at, which is great for battleships because you can pick out the ones that are side on, and hopefully everything just goes well. One thing I would like to ask while I'm kind of just driving here is, how are my volumes? I've received a couple comments over the last while. Some of them were on videos that I know the volumes were out on, but I've tried turning the game down just a little bit more to make my voice clear and ensure I'm not drowned out by anything. So if you could drop in the comments how you feel, and how you feel maybe my last 4 or 5 videos have been by comparison. Is this better? Is it worse? Can I go back to my previous settings? Did I have everything figured out? And what do you guys think overall? So, looks like my first target is going to be a fellow ARP ship, and just gotta wait to have a good enough line. And actually, no, I don't have to wait. And this right here is the reason I use the spider lines. You can see you basically cycle through them, and you can pick which line seems to look the best, and there's about 10 right there. They are turning, so these may end up a little short. But I know a couple people have asked me the purpose of these lines, and really they work best and are designed for when you're in this plane view. And would you look at that, first shot, Citadel. So clearly it worked out. An important thing to note, these ticks here are your 5 and these are your 10. You'll know they're shorter in, and that makes sense because it's at an angle, and anytime you're aiming at a ship, which is angle, you have to chop your aim just a little bit. So next target's a Phoenix, and I'm pretty sure I underlaid them. I tend to do that every time I see a Phoenix for the first time, because I forget that they do destroyer speeds. So turning, already bringing my guns around, and you can see they are slow. Every time I get in the Warship fight, I'm like, God, are these guns slow? And you know what? The Kongos are no different. And it kind of makes sense. Both are designed by the Brits and had a lot of armor placed onto their turrets. So it looks like I'm going to get a decent shot at Furitaka here. Only 2 of my guns are facing that way, but those are looking good. And 2 overpens, a Citadel. I will take that, and I'm gonna keep trying to turn and swing these rear guns down onto this Phoenix to help out our Kamikaze AR, because you really hate to lose destroyers early. They're your vision, they're really a battleship's best friend, and this time gonna lead it by the right amount. Doesn't matter, got hit by a torpedo. So let's see if I can't find that Furitaka again, and they should be appearing. There they are. Put them right about there, see how that does. And I'm going to be shifting my focus after these shells hit. Overpen and a ricochet to this Cleveland. It's a higher tier target, which is worth really more experience, but also more important to remove. The Furitaka is thin, lots of things can get into it. The Cleveland is just a little bit more nasty, especially if she's allowed to sit at range and just pelt you with HE. First volley, get nothing from it. Let's try this again with the second set. And I'm just going to continue to close her because no threat of torps, and the closer you can get, the easier it's going to be to aim. And anyone who's watched a lot of my videos knows I play all my battleships pretty aggressively, and part of it is I'm confident that when I can get into 5k, I can put Citadels into things. Mind you, this Cleveland's playing a little tricky. There we go. Got the Citadel, 30,000 damage in, and helped the Bayern out. So next on my hit list is gonna be this New Mexico, more or less side on, 13 kilometers, easy shot. 7.6, so I'm going to lead them by just a bit over 8. See how that does. And it's looking a little towards the bow, so I'm going to actually choke up just a bit and see if this one does any better. And the New Mexico's a really dangerous ship that you got to be wary of, but you don't have to be terrified of her. And at this point, I really just want to help this Bayern out. I really don't want to see any of my allies die, because then that's just more focus fire on me. I only get 1,000 in there, and the New Mexico can be tricky. It's a lot like the German battleships where, you know, if you aim for the waterline, you're not going to get a lot of Citadels. You want to hit this kind of second belt up here where the armor's a little thinner, and you'll get consistent damage, but you're never going to get the kind of massive damage that some battleship captains grow accustomed to. There we go, 9,000 damage. Hit exactly where I wanted to, and I hope that kind of helps people out trying to figure out the New Mexico. Don't aim for the bulges in the waterline. She's just a little too well armored for that to work. Now I've got to start making sure I'm angled in, because the last thing I want is to eat 12 of those barrels, though she isn't aimed at me, so I should be safe. And I finish her off. I get lit on fire. I'm just going to leave it. I can deal with one fire, and you never know when another one's going to come. I've still got all 3 repair parties, so there's really no rush for me to try to hang on to hit points. And looks like I'm driving straight at an Evney. I'm going to pick on this Hei now. Kind of middle between the time and the distance. So 10k, 5.5, I pick about 7. And that's kind of typical of how I work when I'm driving the Kongo. And just also shooting at other Kongos. I'm not liking this Evney sneaking up behind me. So what I'm actually going to do is I've got nearly a full volley here. I'm going to put it off at the Kongo. And then I'm switching to HE, and I'm going to come hard about, hopefully get this Evney, because you know what? No, I'm not. I thought that would be a good play, but my whole team is up here. Turning about, I would get caught between this Kongo and the rest of the enemy team and that Evney. I don't really have a good way out, so I'm just going to try to get my stern on to all of them. I know I've got HE loaded. Still effective. And I get finished off. So, bit of a anticlimactic battle. I got 2 kills, which I'm happy about, a couple citadels, and I've managed 59,000 damage, so overall not too bad, but not a solid game. And sadly, I didn't have a ton of opportunities to shoot at targets at range. I got myself into B, tried to help out that Bayern and defend the cap, and in the end it kind of got me caught out because most of my team was up here. Had I looked at the map earlier, I probably should have turned sooner, just gotten out, kept my life, but not every game is perfect, and that's what this series is about, is just kind of sharing what I'm thinking during live gameplay and kind of how I play each ship. So let's get into the post game and see how we did. Well, here we are. Overall, not too bad. Victory, 171,000 credits, 2,500 experience. Those 3 citadels, 2 kills, and pretty typical game in a Kongo for me. You can see, what was I, 1, 2, 3, 5th on the team. Just about 1,200 base, well, 1,150. Which is a decent game by all accounts. You can see a couple of those hits, so at least into that Furitaka and the Haruna. That's really the only damage I did were those citadels, but I got a good chunk of damage into a higher tier ship, and that's what really mattered to me in that game. And end of the day, walked away with 131,000 credits and 3,400 experience for this captain who's only usable in the Japanese ships, but still worth training up in my mind. You can use the ships in all kinds of things, so there's no real limit as long as you don't mind looking at them. So if you enjoyed the game, consider giving me a thumbs up or subscribing. I'm getting closer and closer to that 250 subscriber mark when I'm going to do another little giveaway, kind of like the last one. Haven't decided exactly what or how much, but there will be a video announcing it when I get closer. And remember to comment below what you thought about the volumes in this one. Are they any better? I'm trying to get a hold on this, and the only way I can figure it out is when people comment and complain or, give feedback about how they feel my product is, so to say. As always, I am Qckslvrslash, and I'll have another one for you guys tomorrow.